Hi, my name is Dr. Mohammed Habib Qazi. Welcome again to a course in research methodology. Today, we are doing lesson number 3, and here we are going to discuss different approaches to research. मैं आपको बहुत ज़्यादा jargon के अंदर नहीं उलझाऊंगा. I'll talk about broadly, just two research approaches. One is quantitative and other is qualitative. इसको समझना बहुत आसान है. Rather, the name per se, the name itself is indicative of approach. If I say it's quantitative, so it means our data will be quantifiable. उसको count किया जा सकता है, is calculable. इसको calculate किया जा सकता है, which means उसके अंदर digits हैं. अगर हम बात करें qualitative की, the data is not quantifiable. यानी उसको in terms of digits, in terms of tables, उसके अंदर उसे लाया नहीं जा सकता. Now the question is, how to know which approach to use? वो क्या key determinant factor है, which in a way is going to help us decide whether we'll be using quantitative approach or we'll be using qualitative approach. In certain cases, mixed method approach, obviously, which means like some part of it quantitative and some part of it qualitative. Key determinant factor इसमें आपका research question है. Research question आपको decide करके बता देगा whether it's going to be quantitative, qualitative, or a mixed method research. Now, just like earlier I said, I'll be using the same sample, which I've been using since I started giving you lessons on research problem statements, which means lesson number 1. Before that, what's the aim of quantitative research? The aim of quantitative research is to make definitive statements about the relationship between factors. अब वो like comparison हो, association हो different variables का, but the aim is to make definitive statements about the relationship. Qualitative क्या है? Qualitative में we do not make definitive statements. Our purpose is basically to understand a social situation. उसमें जैसे इस तरह के जो मौजूआत हैं, जैसे कि आप जो कल्चर से रिलेटेड हैं, जो सोशल आइडेंटिटी से रिलेटेड हैं, जो ग्रुप आइडेंटिटी से रिलेटेड हैं, फेथ के क्या हैं, जैसे कि हम लैंग्वेजेस के अंदर के एक सर्टेन कम्युनिटी लेट्स से के is no longer interested in speaking mother tongue, तो आपको इसके लिए इन डेप्थ इन्वेस्टिगेशन चाहिए. वो महज क्वेश्चनेयर करने से यस नो से वो नहीं हो सकती. If you are interested in this kind of research, it's the qualitative approach. अगर एक word में बोला जाए, तो if you want to understand meaning of various social situations around you, so you'll definitely go for qualitative research. और इसके लिए आपको लोगों के साथ engagement चाहिए. अब और इसमें आप ये देखिए कि आप अपना मिजाज को जरूर, as I said earlier, कि research should be viable. Viability ये भी है कि are you genuinely interested in communicating to people around you? आप communities के साथ engage होना चाहते हैं, आपको अच्छा लगता है लोगों से बात करना, so then qualitative research approach is the most suited approach for you. अगर आपका ज़्यादा ताल्लुक tabular data से है, figure से है, like you tend to be, like more, scientific oriented, और आप एक definitive result चाहते हैं, तो then the best approach for you is quantitative approach. Okay, let's go through the samples. Again, the sample which I've been using earlier, जैसे linguistic research का है. Go to the precise issue. This study aims to explore the relationship between the type and frequency of parental input and the development of language in children aged 2 to 3, with a focus on vocabulary growth and morphological development. Now, this question has two aspects. One is quantitative and the other one is qualitative. So, the research question 1, which I discussed with you earlier, what's the relationship between the type and frequency of parental input and vocabulary growth in children aged 2 to 3 years? This aspect is quantitative, and will be explored through quantitative means, collecting data using quantitative data collection tools. So what will be the quantitative data collection tools? We possibly need observation checklists, recording frequency of parental input, and standardized vocabulary assessments. Then we need to use statistical methods as well. For example, correlation or regression analysis. So statistical methods can be used to determine the strength of the relationship. Going back to precise issue, the second aspect, and for that, second research question, how does parental input affect morphological development in children aged 2 to 3 years? So this question is of qualitative nature, and to collect data to address this question, we'll be using qualitative data collection tools. So this might involve analyzing parent-children interactions. So we'll be analyzing those through transcriptions of conversation, and then we'll be identifying specific patterns in the language used. So in this sense, you might have noticed that it converges into a mixed method approach. So for the first question, we'll be using quantitative tools to measure the frequency of morphological features in children's speech. And we'll be using qualitative analysis to interpret parental input strategies or interaction styles. If we analyze literature sample, so look at the precise issue. This study aims to explore the representation of gender and sexuality in the works of select female writers of the 19th century, with a focus on examining how these writers challenge dominant cultural norms and construct new understanding of gender and sexuality in their works. So the themes are representation of gender and sexuality. And if you deconstruct this precise issue, the construct one is challenging dominant cultural norms in the works of select female writers of the 19th century, with an idea of constructing new understanding of gender and sexuality. So obviously, we'll be using the works of these select female writers, and there'll be textual analysis. You, in most cases, analyze the text. So just qualitative approach. Thank you.